I'm Amy Mahali from Be Well Clinic, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about the HPA axis and the relationship of the endocrine organs. So we have a demonstration today. This is a really cool way to see how the different organs are related, and this is really important if you are trying to work on helping your fatigue levels, your hormone balancing, even why your blood sugar isn't balancing or why you're not sleeping well. Those are all hormonal things and they're all related to this. So I wanted to just explore the basics of this structure a little bit, and then we can go from there. If you have further questions or if you want to dive deeper, you can make an appointment with one of us here at the office. So first let's talk about the H, the P, and the A, and then we'll get to the other players. The H is the hypothalamus. This is like the CEO of a company. Think about, what does a CEO do? They are really in charge of noticing the culture, what's going on in the world around them, and changing trends before they're behind. So the hypothalamus is really important in sensing what's going on in your world. The temperature of the environment around you. Is it nighttime or daytime? The CNS input, so central nervous system, your senses. Are you in pain? Are you cold? Are you hot? Are you feeling things? Are you in water, right? All those things are going to change what's happening in your body and what your body should be doing. The hypothalamus is also helping with the more spiritual or relational aspects, the kind of subtler, maybe sixth sense, whatever you want to call it. If you are in a room and suddenly it becomes awkward when someone walked in, your hypothalamus is part of how you sensed that. You noticed there was a shift. So the emotions of people around us, feeling, noticing, your intuition, a lot of that is hypothalamus driven as far as we can tell. The pineal gland also has something to do with that as well, and I'm sure other aspects. But that's what the major player of the hypothalamus is. They just figure out what's going on and tell the pituitary gland what to do. The pituitary gland is the next one, and I think of this one like the general manager on the factory floor. So instead of being out in culture, it's just getting directions from the hypothalamus, what's the hypothalamus is sensing, and then it is distributing information to everybody else. So most of the hormones that go through this system are going through the pituitary gland to everybody else. We talk about the adrenal glands being really important with that, but as you can see, there's other connections. And there's even ones I didn't draw on this. Of course, it's way more complex than this, but this is a really good basic structure for us to learn first. So what does a general manager do? A general manager is going to be getting input from the factory floor, from all the workers, the pacing of the machines, how are things going, did something break? Do we need feedback? Do we need compensation, right? So all of that is going to be happening, and there's a whole bunch of lines, not just from the pituitary out, but from things into the pituitary. Sometimes things feed back to the hypothalamus, but most the feedback loop goes to the pituitary gland. So then the pituitary gland is going to rely on one of its most faithful workers. All of our body does as good as it can, but the adrenals are what we rely on when everybody else is tired. So think about what can be going on. You didn't get enough sleep. You didn't eat food for a lot of hours and your blood sugars dropped. Your adrenal glands are going to send the signal to various places to make you be okay. Mostly we're using adrenaline, cortisol, that kind of chain of stress hormones, which is where a lot of people know about the HPA axis is in fatigue or stress, right? But if you just had one night of bad sleep and you had to stay awake, say you wanted to go to bed at 4 p.m., but you can't, so you stay awake till 9 or 10, your adrenaline and your cortisol is what got you through. So the adrenal glands are really important, and they are going to be tired eventually. If we don't give them enough care, or if we're making them work too hard because other organ systems or even just our foundational structure is not enough for maintenance, we have the adrenal glands that will kick in for years. The adrenal glands will overcompensate for the deficit for years before they start even showing symptoms for a lot of people. Okay, so that's the HPA axis. I want to now pull in some of the others. So thyroid gland. Thyroid and adrenals are friends. They work really well together. If the thyroid is struggling, the adrenals will be struggling, and vice versa. For most people, they find out about a thyroid issue because they did some blood work, got a TSH or other thyroid labs, and found out, wow, my thyroid's struggling, and they will then do medication for the thyroid gland, which can be a helpful fix for the moment, but I always want to know what happened. Where is the breakdown? Is it the thyroid? Is it the hypothalamus and pituitary? Is it the adrenal glands? Because think about this. If the bosses are stressed, everybody's stressed, right? Remember that the hypothalamus is sensing the input around us. This is where, I guess, big picture trauma response would come in. And that could be physical trauma or emotional trauma. And by physical trauma, I mean consistently dieting and having your body run low calorie so that it always is hungry. Maybe intermittent fasting when you shouldn't be and it's causing stress. Maybe long-term sleep deprivation, right? So if the body is used to getting not enough sleep, and then again, you're not getting enough sleep, it's going to mount a, oh no, stress response, maybe way stronger than it needs to because it's used to it. Because the body is deciding this is the safest thing for us. So if the bosses are stressed, it's going to send signals to everyone. So when I'm working with someone and I start noticing, oh, your thyroid's off, I always then look at what's the adrenals, what's your blood sugar doing, how's your liver functioning. If the thyroid's off, oh, your adrenals are off, oh, your periods are irregular, or your testosterone is low, or your libido is low, oh, we don't have a thyroid problem, right? We have a hormone relationship problem. And this is where then I dive deeper into what are we needing to support? Maybe the bosses need support, and there's different nutrition and also PMGs, which we do have a video about, protomorphogens, that we can help all of these different things. But sometimes we just need support here. Sometimes the support for the bosses is needed because of head trauma. Head trauma can happen because of orthodontia work, concussions, rapid palate expansion, jabbing a pen up your on your palate, right? You fell maybe even as a child and jabbed a pen. Maybe getting hit by a baseball or head-butted by an animal or a child. Anything like that that would damage and hurt the hypothalamus and pituitary, which live right above your palate. It doesn't take very much for them to be irritated, so maybe the world around you is fine, but their damage makes them feel stressed and they send stress signals to everyone. So it's really important to come in if you have anything on this list. So adrenal issues, fatigue, backward circadian rhythm, so you wake up and you get your second wind at night, have a hard time falling asleep, and then you drag all day, that is an adrenal symptom. Thyroid symptoms can be temperature regulation problems, sleep problems come in there as well. You can also have thyroid issues, fatigue usually is what discovered that. And then you can go into blood sugar things. So liver, duodenum, which is in the small intestines, and the pancreas. These are our major blood sugar organs, and they all have hormonal impact on how we manage our blood sugar. So if your adrenals are exhausted, adrenaline is released to give you sugar so that you can keep going. That signal is going to go to the liver and the pancreas and the duodenum to make sure that we actually release enough sugar. If you weren't able to eat, we will release enough sugar to stay alive until we can eat. This can happen during the day between meals. It can also happen overnight, causing nighttime waking, bedtime urination, and even just vivid dreams or restless sleeping. So there's so many things that are tied here. If your periods are abnormal or your hormones are off, testosterone is low, all that kind of stuff, this plays in as well. So this is really important to figure out. And if you feel like any of these things are going on for you, I would really recommend working with someone who understands the depth, not just the HPA axis, but all of the hormone regulation and all of the relationship of these organs. Because if you start fixing one, especially with mono support, so a lot of people will have a natural synthroid, right? They're not doing the medication, they're doing a natural thing, but they don't check their adrenals and their blood sugar starts going crazy and their periods are off. Maybe it's these guys, maybe the bosses are stressed, right? So this is just really important to understand. Hopefully this gives you a good picture of what might be going on and what to look into. And then of course, we and other people can help that as well. So that is a good amount of information about the HPA axis and the additional organs that you should know about if you are working on your endocrine system or your hormones. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend who also needs to know. I am going to be doing another video about the hormone chain itself. So talking a little bit about how cortisol is affecting whether you have enough estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So that one's going to come out in a couple weeks, so make sure to watch out for that. And if you want more content like this, make sure to check out the other videos in our channel, and I will see you in the next one.